Hey guys, Ray here with 321 Airsoft again. Well, today we're going to talk about protecting the front of your gearbox by putting a Sorbo Pad on your front cylinder head. And what I mean by Sorbo Pad is I mean Sorbothane. It is a rubbery material that a lot of airsofters or techs use to put on the cylinder head to absorb some of the energy. You can see how thick it is. It's kind of spongy. It comes in different thicknesses and also different what's the word for that? It's like different levels of sponginess. Some is harder, some softer. You get what I'm talking about. But this is a 4x4 square of Sorbo Pad, and you're wondering, how do I get this into the gearbox? Let me show it to you. It looks like high density rubber. How do I get this into the gearbox and make that into something useful? Well, we'll go over that. We're going to talk about the cylinder head and the material that's on here. This is not Sorbothane. This is just a high density rubber. It's really thick and really heavy. It is not spongy at all. Here it is right here. I don't know if you can see that, but I cannot squeeze it. It is hard. So all that energy is transferred through this rubber right through the cylinder head and obviously into the gearbox. And what happens is you end up breaking off the front of your gearbox like this one right here. Take a look. You can actually see me peeling this apart. The whole front end cracks, and the result is loss of compression, lower velocity. So, boys and girls, to fix that, we're going to replace this rubber piece, and I've already cleaned up my King Arms one. We took the rubber off of there, and I used an X-Acto knife. If you don't have an X-Acto knife, you can use a screwdriver. But we want to make sure we clear this off and scrape off all the glue that's kind of holding that on there. Careful if you're using razor blades, people, not to stab yourself. But anyway, we want to clean this up by picking off all the glue. Make it a nice clean surface for the Sorbothane pad to adhere to. We're going to go ahead and cut now to actually manufacturing a Sorbothane pad. But before I do that, what you're going to do is you're going to use this big rubber piece, peel off the plastic on one side, and then what you're going to use is a center punch leather cutter set. These go for about 20 bucks on Amazon.com. There it is. And there's the leather punch. And how this works is you take this and you put on the appropriate size ring, and this is almost like a blade down here, and you screw that on there, and you put that over the rubber mat like this, and you take a hammer, you punch it, and then you get basically the round shape that you need. Let me go ahead and pull one up. This is one that's completed with the center hole in it. This is one that I made using a leather punch and using that square. So you can see how this material kind of squishes in my fingers. It is a lot softer, but very resilient and springy. This is going to absorb the energy of the piston hitting the cylinder head. Bang, 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 bang. Over and over again, this cracks off the front of the gearbox. So what we're going to do is protect the gearbox by doing that. Like I said, you can take a small screwdriver and you can actually pick that rubber material out of one of these. We're going to go ahead and go to the video now. We'll show you actually making the Sorbothane. What we do here is we take the hammer, we take the punch, we center it on a section of the square, and we push down as hard as we can just to make sure that we get all of the movement out of the rubber or the Sorbothane. And then we just whack it with the hammer, and it cuts a nice clean piece for us. And then the next step for that is to just take the smaller center punch hole, put that over top of it, and punch out the center. And in doing that, we end up with, come back to this camera, this guy right here, a nice little round piece of Sorbothane that's going to sit like that. We're going to glue it right to the back of the cylinder head. That provides a little bit of protection there. Now we can do different thicknesses. Like if you don't want to change this is going to change the angle of engagement on a piston because the piston is going to sit back further at rest. But if you don't want to do that, you can actually get thinner sheets of Sorbothane. I'm actually going to put the thickest on there just to protect it, and then I'll just change the AOE, maybe remove the second tooth of my piston, but we'll work on it. Go ahead and what I like to do is to take the X-Acto knife and carve out lines in the rubber gasket or wherever this piece is. So just kind of cut it up into little chunks, just like you're slicing a piece of pizza. And then after you've done that, you can go in and just kind of peel it up with a screwdriver. And this is tough, but just get all this off of here like that. See how it just comes off in chunks? It's easier if you just cut it up, and then once you get a piece out, you can kind of go around and knock this guy off. See, when you do it in the chunks, they pop off really easy, but then you're gonna have to go in and clear off all the excess. So there you go. Just keep doing that, and eventually you'll get this guy off your cylinder head, and you can clean that up, and then you can actually put your Sorbo pad on there. Now if you need a larger hole, you can cut a larger hole with this, but we've got the one for the size I need. This one's got a larger area, so you need a larger hole for that one. But this one, this little hole is cut for the King Arms one, so it's going to fit perfectly over top of that. Alright, that's it guys. That's how you get the old piece off your cylinder head. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and find the super glue. I thought I'd put it out here for this demo, but apparently I've lost it. What you're going to need is a really good super glue, and what I recommend is the Loctite super glue. It's a gel, and if I had it, we could use it. Somebody walk off with it? I'll be right back, guys. And once that's back in, we can actually put our piston back in, throw our gears in, check the angle of engagement, make sure the gear is engaging in the right place here on the gearbox, and believe it or not, when we're done, we're going to have better protection for our gearbox shell so we don't end up with any crackings. And the best part of this is